like you said, it seems crazy sometimes. You're detoxing all the time, but why am I still on this process of regeneration? And most people don't know that I had major vaccine damage. So from the very beginning of my life, my brain got damaged. And I've been working with the detoxification and regeneration of my brain, nervous system. Thankfully, other people get hit, their endocrine glands get hit. The diabetes is a part of that. And so many other, the autoimmune diseases from the chemicals that get trapped in the tissues. And so that's the reason why I continue to do this, because I've had issues my whole life and I have suffered and I have been in pain. And so, and lately it's come as a revelation that that pain and that suffering, which we all go through, but to varying degrees. And who's the more blessed one? The one who has very little suffering and pain, which drives them to seek deeper truth, or the one who suffers gravely and is forced to find the highest truth and forced to apply the knowledge instead of, oh, I know about this stuff. Let's go down to the coffee shop and talk about it. I don't give a crap about that. I want to be it. I'm going to do it. So to this very day, 20 years on the living foods path and 11 years on the YouTube, I am, I haven't made a video in a couple months. I'm behind the scenes. I am invigorated. And I'm not saying I know everything about diet. I'm saying I just know what I've had to do to regenerate my brain to the best of my ability, because I think that what they did, my parents didn't know any better. There's some sinister activity going on the planet, and it's just up to me and the lightless light and the divine knowledge and the divine intelligence to guide me to how I can improve the quality of my life. And some of these things that we've experienced, all of us. I mean, we're all going to die. We're all going to get old and we're all going to die, and we've all been damaged in many different ways, whether emotionally or physically, or whether we're just pigs on our diet, or we just use food as a drug, or we got into drugs when we were young, or we drank ourselves to death because our ex-wife left us, or whatever. Now we've got, we drank like a fish for 5 years, and now we're kind of waking up and going, God, I'm going to die if I don't change it. Well, you've done a lot of damage. Now you have to pay your debt. And for whatever reason, we have these, we're just little babies, and we get that we have that kind of experience. My brother died from it. My nephew died from it, from these inoculations. So thankfully, I'm still alive. I've just had a lifetime of challenges. They labeled me ADD, gave me drugs. I became a drug addict, yada, yada, yada. But now I've worked my way. So, I'm just an average Joe working my way out of, oh, here's the world's insanity, but there is another better path that may be narrow. It may be the hard path. It may take discipline, focus, determination, and most of all, an earnestness. But I have goosebumps because I'm so grateful to God, as hard as it's been to be on social media, because I'm not the poster child for anything. And I'm a very sensitive person about, this is my life, and I've worked my ass off, and I'm finding out things that no one knows about. Because when you go to get mercury, aluminum, and fluoride out of your brain that got in there past the protective barriers because of the emulsifiers that are used in the medications and in these, medical procedures that are injected into everyone across the board, those chemicals get past those safety barriers that your brain wants to be protected. Your gut lining wants to protect you from being exposed to those chemicals and those emulsifying agents, the polysorbates and emulsifiers in food. But the polysorbates, they allow those chemicals to get where they're not supposed to get. And once they get in there, since these chemicals are so new, we have no biological mechanisms. So there's no enzymes in the history of the liver, and there's no microbes either that can transmit these chemicals into innocuous substances. And so now we're finding out that, these chemicals are getting trapped inside of people, and it's causing allergies and asthma and autoimmune diseases and Alzheimer's. And that's only just the A's, and the list goes down the list. And so now we're working on the impossible. I'm working with the greatest healers in the world, which have come to me through grace. And when you combine this diet that I've been on and this lifestyle of what I call sadhana, which is daily meditation, which has been one of the best things I've ever done for my brain, is daily deep meditation. And sometimes it's up to 2 to 4 to 6 hours a day of meditation that has completely transformed my ability to sit still, coming from a child labeled ADD, given the drugs that are actually, destroy creativity and numb the brain. Then all those acids and inflammation, you reach out for things like cannabis and alcohol and food, which food is a palliative for aluminum poisoning. You'll find that across the board, that all of us with aluminum, when we eat aluminum in the brain, which is everywhere because it's raining down us from the sky, but mostly those, back from way back when they've been using aluminum as a preservative and as an adjuvant to overexcite. The problem is the aluminum gets stuck and it overexcites, and that's what they label as ADD, ADHD, hyperactivity, and autoimmune diseases. And now it's getting worse and worse because the toxins are getting so high, the threshold is getting so high. That's what got me into the understanding of detoxification, the avoidance of chemicals, and that's why we have such a great relationship and where that lines up, and why I appreciate Morrocco method so much, because you can recognize everything that's in there, and you're like, okay, if there's even a few things that I don't recognize and the word is too long, I'm like, that's too many hexaboxymalate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell that is. Is that a molecule that's sinking into my brain and inhibiting some kind of endocrine gland or disrupting my hormones? Is it going into my brain and causing inflammation? So I'm going to use Morrocco method stuff because I am a princess and I love self-care. And it was the lack of love, which my parents didn't have. When you have more love, you do detoxify those chemicals more when you're younger. That's why some people have, harsher reactions than others. And I didn't have that. Love is the detoxification chemical. And it's funny that I even bring that up because just recently I realized that I still have yet to learn to completely love and honor myself because of those stuck patterns in childhood of two parents that and generations. In fact, I did an 18-day water fast a month ago, and I was going to go for 40, which I've done before, but I got to the place of my ancestors screaming in pain, and it was right here in my chest, and I couldn't go on anymore. I was a little bit upset about that because I love to accomplish my goals, but I couldn't handle it. And then the last month and a half, I've been kind of sick in a sense of my heart. And so you're kind of catching me just coming out of that because it was just, I had these revelations and it pulled me so low that I was just so low, and I got low. And finally, it just got so low that I realized that you have to love yourself, dude, and get the love from yourself that you never got, and get over that deep conditioning. When you're that young child, you're getting conditioned. Those patterns don't just go away right away. And so this is what I'm talking about when we're talking about real healing. And so we're talking about the physical, the emotional, the mental, and utilizing the spiritual divine intelligence to be guided into what you can do. And there are miracles on this planet because I have a friend who's a master healer who specializes in the detoxification and the eradication of these chemical plaques or these acid crystals. He calls them death crystals, calcareous deposits, which are associated with a great many elements in society that the body can't water solubly release. And so this, even though the cells are reproducing, many of these scar tissue, acid crystal, calcareous deposits, or indurated tissues, they're not getting oxygen to those tissues, and they're irritating nerves, they're blocking blood flow, they're blocking lymph flow. And so thankfully, there's 8 people on the planet that does this kind of work, to physically manipulate and break up these deposits. And one of them is my best friend. And so it's the slow, steady process. And I think anyone who knows me can see that I'm in a totally different space than I was a few months ago, than I was a year ago, than I was 3 years ago. So I'm making progress in ways that necessarily isn't being talked about in the dietary genres and things like that, because this is the deepest levels of healing, and it's happening on every level. And so I'm earnest, I'm devoted, not only to the regeneration of my physical organism as hey, I got to do something while I'm here on earth, while I'm utilizing this body as a gift to humanity to heal myself, and then hopefully, with the grace of God, design programs, share information on how other people can dissolve their sclerotic indurated calcareous deposits, which create, nervous system conditions, autoimmune diseases, pain, stiffness in the joints, etc. And so for those who want to get free and actually do the work, and it is not easy, and it can be painful, and can be physically painful, but also what you'll see is that as these deposits, whether you're doing simple detoxification of going just from the standard food to the raw food, you're going to experience painful emotions. And that's what stops most people. You're going to lose a little weight. You're going to lose a little muscle mass. You're going to feel a little weak. You're going to be a little shaky. You're going to get lightheaded. You're going to feel all the toxins in your bloodstream. People don't want to feel unpleasantness for a day, or 2 or 3 or a week or a month to get to the other side of the river, which is the peace and love and ease of a body that's well functioning, even in a society such as this. The laws are still here. They're still working for us. And if we're smart, we can utilize those laws, and we can, just like you, Anthony. I mean, I hope I'm as sharp and as centered as you are, because a lot of 76-year-olds are not doing so well. In fact, most people are dead by 76, and you're still running a great company, doing good for society. And I can tell you're having fun, and your balanced attitude is a very awesome thing. Your intelligence and your dedication to continuing to make the planet better, even at your age, like we talked about yesterday. By the time people get to be your age, they're like, they're just like eating crackers and saltines and God knows what. I mean, they're not going to change nothing. They're set in like stone. And you're maintaining the 5 elements in you to stay fluid, stay flexible, and to continue to stay youthful and grow. And I'm sure you're still enjoying life.
I love life. Life to me is the whole passion of why we're here. And every day I need a reason to get out of bed. And I have many reasons to get me out of bed early. And there are 7 days a week. I have all these projects going on. I teach Qigong. I teach yoga. I basically have employees that are supportive for me, and I support them. But the whole health deal is no matter what age we are, we need to get healthier. And that's what I feel today, that I'm basically experiencing more health than I ever have at 76, because I have all this wisdom. And it's all coming from experience. And that's what I want to share with everybody, is that we really need a reason to get out of bed in the morning. There's a reason why we're here. And detox, like you're saying, Dan, is critical. Detox is the whole key to our physical, emotional, mental, and energy levels. Everything needs that detox. Every level needs to detox 24/7. And it's not something where you have to go place yourself in a box for a month. You can do that. That's really high work. But normally in our day-to-day routine, 7 days a week, we have to just be very mindful and very careful of what we're doing, who we're hanging around with, and what we're accepting into our impressions. And that's little by little. And that affects the whole of ourselves. And we have to understand that we're affecting everyone around us. So everything that I'm doing Everything that Dan's doing, everything that you're doing is affecting shoulder to shoulder. And we need to be brothers, shoulder to shoulder. We need to be sisters, shoulder to shoulder. We need to support humanity with common sense and with truth. Truth is truth. There's no other truth. And just facts. If it's a fact, it's a fact. That's what it is. And we need to solve those problems. Starting with ourselves. We need to be healthy so we can think clearly, we can feel clearly, we can have a relationship clearly. We want to be shoulder to shoulder with everyone, and to basically be clear and balanced. And I'm glad you brought that up. So our ancestors basically, obviously, are still empowered. They're still here. And I worked with Robert Bly for 20 years in the men's communities. And when we did work with thousands of men, what we would do, we would call in our ancestors. They would come. They come. They're there. And they're waiting for us to do this work. When we do this work, which is this, the mystery and the magic, our ancestors come, because we're not only releasing and freeing ourselves like Dan's talking about, we're releasing our parents, our grandparents, our great-great-great-grandparents. This work is on all levels, beyond our wildest dreams. And so excited to be alive and to be able to have the privilege of working on ourselves at a capacity at every level, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally, psychically, spiritually. It's very exciting. And I'll finish off with, in Asia, if you look in Asia in their dictionary, you will never find a word that exists that says retire. There's no such word. It doesn't exist in their culture, and it doesn't exist in their entire civilizations. And I'm sure the American Indians and all the tribal people never had such a ridiculous word. Retire to what? What are you retiring to? All we can do is grow more, live more. And with our experience, we want to share more with the youth, for God's sake. That's what I want to bring as closure. We need to empower our youth, not destroy them, not make them weak. What I'm seeing today is the youth is so weak, it is really sad. They need to be empowered by us, not looking at us eating Twinkie donuts and drinking garbage, poison, chemicals. We need to be an example to the younger, to the youth. What's coming up, they're going to be taking over this planet. The deer, the dolphins, the whales, the insects, the birds cannot defend themselves from us. Humanity, humankind really can do things that nothing else can do. We can either make this planet really healthy and beautiful, or we can destroy it. And we're destroying all life on Earth. So let's start detoxing ourselves at every level, everyone around us, and let's start as close as we can and stay there. We don't need to go all the way to Russia to change them. We don't need to go to Iran to change them. We need to change ourselves at home, right here, and to empower our youth. Dan, the message is health at all levels. Thank you.